COVID, what do you think are the top sustainability issues that the industry should uh, is facing, and what should we be suggesting to them? Because, like you said, the WTC is a landmark. It's a facility which is unique. It's a global brand. So, as a brand, what are the elements that we need to be addressing, and what are our suggestions to other sustainable developments which could be coming?
Okay. Well, I think one of the top ones almost goes against some of the stuff we've said, which is I'm a firm believer of what they call FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And there's a lot of that discussion, particularly now that a lot of people are working remotely. Um, and I think one of the key suggestions post COVID is actually to make sure that you still do engage and get involved in workspaces. So I think it's trying to sort of depolarize ourselves from remote working and make sure that we know that remote working is a beneficial thing, but it's not the be all and end all. And so getting back to the workplace is one thing that I think is quite important post COVID. But I do think taking, having cognizance for the way in which this has all panned out and the benefits we now have from remote working, from things like that, I think mean that we can be more sustainable moving forward in the ways in which we do work. I also think it's presented lots of opportunities. I mean, in the United Kingdom, for instance, the high street has um, had a bit of a renaissance as a result of the pandemic. You've got a lot of sort of secondary shops that were closing down that have actually opened into these sort of hybrid co-working areas and meeting spots and coffee shops, and I think that sort of that turn back towards a social lifestyle is beginning to come as a result of the pandemic. So I think we're yet to know, I think, how we will change as a society as a result of it, but I certainly think it gives us that opportunity to restart, or a catalyst for us to actually try and recalibrate ourselves into more of a sustainable way of life. I remember when we were just in the introduction, there was a discussion around everyone sort of planting a tree, or at least funding the planting of a tree, and what that would do across a country if you were to do that. It was only yesterday that I was reading a piece that said, on average, there's about 10.6 kilograms of CO2 emitted per person just because of um, extra photos or deleted photos on the iCloud, on the cloud, which is colossal. I mean, that's as an average. Obviously, some people might not, but I mean, it just made me think. Well, I might as well, this evening I'll go through my photos and delete anything I don't need. And that, across thousands of people, that's a lot of CO2 emission. Um, so I think it all goes back to the fact that, yes, of course, as developers we can be doing a lot, but I think that consumer awareness of sustainability is just as important, and knowing that, even through doing some really simple things that wouldn't necessarily compute to being beneficial, such as making sure you don't have overly cluttered stuff stored on your cloud, which is then causing emissions through a server and through the powering of those servers, um, is part of that, what people end up calling a circular economy style way of life. And I think that's something that we're gradually becoming more and more aware of. And I think if there's anything post COVID that we should be looking at is ways in which we can be more efficient in the way that we work.